What's going on, everybody? Off the Mic Sports Network here. A wild weekend of college football. A lot of things happened, and a lot of people are going to be mad with how this 12-team college football playoff gets sorted out because there is still potential chaos on the board. We didn't have as much chaos as we thought. And I said this after Texas beat Texas A&M. I felt pretty confident in saying that, and I feel even more confident coming out of Saturday. And now, with everything set, all the conference championship games virtually set, the Mountain West is going to go to a computer metric. But the Mountain West, I've covered the Mountain West. I like a lot of those teams out there. They're not relevant to this college football playoff discussion this year. They're not going to have a team in the college football playoff. But if you are a fan, there's going to be so many fan bases that are pissed off. But if you're a Miami fan, and hell, I would say this: if you're a Texas fan, you've got to feel pissed off because there's a real world here where the ACC as a conference gets left out of the playoff. Because if Duke beats Virginia next week as a 7-5 team, 3 losses out of league, a 7-5 team ends up going 8-5 and wins a Power 4 league, Duke, in my opinion, is not going to the playoff. They are not. I think James Madison, if they remain a 1-loss conference champion, James Madison out of the Sun Belt will be the other conference champion that makes it to the college football playoff. The American is going to be a guaranteed Group of 5 champion. That'll be one. But there's a realistic possibility where one of the Power 4 leagues gets left out. And Miami is one of the best teams in college football, and they're not even getting the right to play for their conference championship game. Realignment and this format has screwed up a lot of things already, and we're 2 years into this thing. The college football playoff, as we know it, and college football needs structure desperately, and it is so broken, it's ridiculous. Because you've got political campaigns going on. Steve Sarkisian's yelling to the heavens that his team deserves to be in, and they won't schedule Ohio State. There's that component to this. There's the fact that literally Miami, we thought was one of the best teams in college football. They lose 2 games in conference to SMU and to Louisville, and they don't even get a chance to play for their conference title. Yet a 5-loss team in Duke, who didn't even play them, gets to go to the conference title game and play Virginia. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And if you're Vanderbilt, your 2 losses are on the road to Alabama and on the road to Texas. You're a 2-loss SEC team. You're going to get left out of the playoff because of this format. If you're BYU, you're playing for a conference championship. If you lose that, the only team that beat you, Texas Tech, is going to go, and you're going to get left out as a 2-loss team. That's ridiculous in its own right. Notre Dame, as great of a run as they've had, the fact that they're being ranked over Miami despite losing to them is a little bit ridiculous. Oklahoma with a bad defense, but they have a great win over Alabama. They deserve to be ranked. Texas A&M played a lousy schedule. Like, I'm running down the list of things going on in this playoff, and there's a scenario out there where, let's say BYU beats Texas Tech, and then Alabama plays a close game no matter which way it goes against Georgia. Notre Dame could get left out of this thing too. And Notre Dame, I think, is one of the 12 best teams in college football. So this format and college football as a whole has already failed. It's already failed. Like, this is already a flawed and messed up concept, because you mean to tell me that 2 years into this thing that we could realistically have a Power 4 league get left out of the playoff, multiple big-time brands get left out of the playoff. Notre Dame, even though they don't have a significant win, they're one of the you can unequivocally say that they're one of the 12 best teams in college football. Texas, I've heard people argue to me, yes, they have the bad loss. Texas is playing as well as anybody right now. This is such a flawed format. And the capper on top of this is, like I said, a Power 4 league championship is up for debate. ACC, their best team, Miami, is not playing in that game, which is ridiculous. That is ridiculous in itself. The other thing that's ridiculous is a team that has 5 losses on the regular season could win the conference championship and not make the playoff. And the ACC, a Power 4 league, a very proud Power 4 league, could just completely get left out for James Madison. I love that the Group of 5 is getting included. But the fact that we are at this point already with this format 2 years in, this format is getting expanded. with I would say within the next 2 years, this format is getting expanded. Abso-freaking-lutely. Considering Texas is going to be upset, Notre Dame could be upset, the ACC as a whole could be upset, Miami's going to be upset. People are already livid at how this is shaken out. And if certain things happen next Saturday, like I said, BYU beats Texas Tech and there's a close game in the SEC, and Duke wins the ACC, there's going to be so many people that are going to be livid because I do not think Duke will go to the playoff. Them putting in a and the premise of a 5-loss team making the college football playoff in its second year is just wild to me. And then the best team in that league doesn't even play for it. It's like, listen, I was very critical of Miami. I feel bad for them. I was very critical of Texas. I kind of feel bad for them now, seeing how this whole thing shakes out. Because the goal of this format was to get the 12 best teams into the playoff. The goal of it was to get the 12 best teams into the playoff and also allow a group of 5 participant. But now with the flaws within these leagues and within realignment and all the greed that has gone into this sport, where you have, Oregon and USC and UCLA and Washington playing in the Big Ten, like, which is still one of the most ridiculous concepts of all time. And then you've got overloaded leagues where, Texas A&M doesn't play a significant ranked team the whole season. They're going to the playoff. It's just, all of this is just maddening. So if you're a fan of any one of these fan bases, get at me in the comments. Tell me who you're a fan of, because I want to know your guys' perspective on what you think your qualifications are. I've gotten into arguments with Texas people a lot in the last couple of days. From a sheer just looking at the numbers and looking what the committee has told us, Texas has no argument to get into this thing. They're way too far back. Even beating the number 3 team, Texas A&M, doesn't qualify them. But I feel bad for them because, yes, that Ohio State game is kind of hurting them here a little bit. I feel bad about them from that perspective. But that's the way this thing goes, man. And again, if you're Notre Dame, man, listen, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you've got to be rooting hard for Texas Tech, because you do not want BYU winning that game, because that's dicey. Because in that scenario, unless Alabama gets destroyed by Georgia, and even then, I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't think the committee will have the balls to do it, because Greg Sankey will be livid if Alabama gets left out of the playoff playing in a conference title game and Notre Dame doesn't play a conference title game. That's ridiculous. So there's just so much going on in this playoff that I think it is ultimately inevitable that this thing is going to expand to at least 16 teams within the next 2 years. They extended the deadline, but given the way that this has already gone, somebody is going to be really livid at how this happened, because the format's going to be altered. The 12-team format's going to be altered to be more advantageous to the Power 4 teams, because this just cannot happen. It cannot happen where a Power 4 league has a 5-loss team playing for a championship and their best team, Miami, is sitting at home next week. I think it's ridiculous that Miami doesn't even have a say in this. Like, after they lost to SMU, Miami's playing about as good as anybody. They had 2 really weird losses early in the season. They struggled through a couple of games, but they're being penalized for that. Notre Dame's in it, and I like Notre Dame. I like Marcus Freeman. But there's just so many flaws in this format that when you look at it going in, like I said, we're going into the final weekend of the season where basically I could comfortably tell you that there are 9 teams that are firmly in this playoff. Notre Dame and Alabama are kind of, it's kind of a little bit murky there depending on what happens with BYU and Texas Tech. And then, like I said, the ACC title game, it's either going to be Virginia as the ACC champion or, James Madison, I think, is going to steal if they win the Sun Belt Championship. And then the American, Tulane, or North Texas, they're going to win it. They're going to go in too. Duke is not going to the playoff. I'd be stunned if Duke won. Listen, I would not be shocked if Duke won that game, but I would be stunned if the College Football Playoff Committee sat there and looked us dead in the face. Duke wins the ACC title game and says, yeah, we're putting Duke into the playoff. It's not happening. That's not happening. I'd be stunned if they let a 5-loss team into the field. So debate it all you want in the comments. I'm losing my mind over this. This is going to be my job really for the next week on this channel over on College Sports Radio Channel 84 on Sirius XM. This is crazy. This is crazy. It's not the kind of chaos I expected to have, but this is crazy. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.